with you outdoors or in herbal, doors or in herbal, doors or in herbal.
In Cambridge, Georgia, back in the man cave, the shock and horror. Sitting here, just got back from shopping, and I went to, but that's where I shop. Yeah, I don't require fancy stuff, so if you have veggies, I'll shop. While I was there, like I've told you before, can't go there without going and having looking at the camping section, if you want to call it that. And I stopped by the knife counter and peruse what they have there. And they don't have a large selection in store. If you go online, they do. And I saw something that brought back a lot of memories. And when I got home, dug through my stuff and found this guy. And this is a buck folder knife that I've had for a long, long time. And I took it everywhere with me. When I got dressed, no matter what I was doing, it was in my pocket, and it lasted me forever. And it's a great knife. I love this knife. It's one of my favorites. Has a lot of sentimental value simply because for 10 years it was in my pocket. It did the job that I needed it to do. Beat up, it's worn, but you'd expect that after 10 years. It's one of my favorites. And while I was at Walmart, I had a look at another folding buck knife, pocket knife, whatever you want to call it. Because I haven't looked at their knives for a while. And of course, it was sharp and it was shiny. So I brought it home. And this is it here. In the package, on the package, it says right there. Made in China. Don't know why I'm surprised. I think everybody does that now. And it makes sense business-wise if you want to be competitive. And to be honest, a lot of the stuff that I buy is made in China, and I don't think I've ever really been disappointed. Did what I wanted them to do, so I don't have a problem with this. But this is the Buck Trekker XLT. In the package, they do give you their warranty, and I'll tell you that right now. Famous forever warranty. You got the card. Buck Knives unconditionally warrants that it will repair or, at their option, replace this knife if it is found to contain any defects in material or workmanship. They have the famous forever warranty. And this is the Trekker. Here it is here, folded up. And you can see there on the clip, it says Buck. Right up there it says Buck, and on the blade it says Buck. And it is unusual colors. I don't know if it's meant to be green and gray, dark gray, blue, dark green. I don't know what color that is. I'm sure they'll say that and tell you in the description. Fairly heavy. It's fairly big. Let's measure it. Closed. 4 inches. Blade open. 7 inches. So you got a 3-inch blade. Not bad. It is a partially serrated blade, and you can see it there. And the shape of the blade is kind of sort of like this. It doesn't have that big hump, but it does have a hump on it and comes down to a point, and you can see that it comes to a point. That's fine for me. I don't really have a preference for an EDC pocket knife. I own 1 or 2 and they all have different blades and they all work fine for what I use them for. It's a nice knife. It looks nice, very pretty, very modernish. Does open, does lock, and it's a solid lock. It's not going anywhere. It is an inline lock. You can see it there. To release the blade, you have to pull that gizmo. See it there? You push that apart and then you can close it. So you push it apart and it allows you to close the blade. Fairly straightforward. It does have a thumb whatever they call it, which allows you to open it one-handed, and it does click in nicely, and like I said, it stays there nice and solid. The clip, which is a belt/pocket clip. One thing, well, actually the first thing I noticed, and if you look there, see that? It's almost above the handle, which means it's going to sit really deep in your pocket when you clip it into your pocket. That's kind of a nice feature, I think. And if you look at the old one here, the clip stops here. So when you put it in your pocket, this is sticking out the top of your pocket. Is it a big deal? No, but I like it. Interesting feature. And oh, by the way, the lock on this is one of those push down, spring loaded. So it is a nice clip, and it's solid. It's not going anywhere. I think that's right. On this, you can move the clip to the other side. You've got your 3 screws here, and on this one, it doesn't. And you can move it to the other side. On this one, you don't have that option. It's where it is. I mean, it has screws, you could take it off, but you can't really move it around. The handle, anodized aluminum. Don't have a problem with that. Strong enough, I would think. Not a problem there. It has a partially serrated blade, and if you look there, you can see them down here. I don't like a full serrated blade. I just don't use them. I just prefer a regular blade. But it's nice to have that. It's very sharp. And I'm seeing on the blade here, it does say 736 plus. I wonder what that means. Interestingly enough, I went online on Amazon, the horror, typed in the name, and this didn't come up. Go to the Walmart website, comes up right away. So this may have been only available at Walmart. Don't hold me to that, but I couldn't find it anywhere else. And quick update, I looked at the website, and it says here, buck knives 0736 GRXWVM Trekker extra large partial serrated folding knife with pocket clip, green black aluminum handle, Walmart exclusive. That answers my question why I couldn't find it anywhere else. The blade is 420 HC stainless steel blade. Once again, if it keeps an edge and I can sharpen it, and it's not going to snap in half or anything like that, I don't really care. I don't really get that much into knives. Does it do the job I want it to do, and I'm happy with it. Don't really care about the blade as long as I can sharpen it and it's not going to snap or be unsafe. It feels fine to me. The handle feels okay. This inline latch here, I can feel that. I can certainly feel that when I'm holding it. Is there going to be a problem? No, I can just feel it. I don't think I'm going to do that much work with it where that's going to be a problem. On the back, right there, you can see it's got those jinking in it for your thumb. One thing I noticed with both my bucks, and I'll show you that right now. If you look at the blades, I'm going to try and hold it up there so you can see them. And you'll see something. Let me hold them nicely here for you. See this up top here? They have the same thing there. And if you look at it, this is flat, normal ridge on the blade, but then it's sharpened. Can you see that? It's actually sharpened and goes in at an angle. But the interesting thing is it doesn't come to an edge. It actually, I'm trying to show you that, it does have a little flat piece at the top. I'm not sure what that's for, to be honest. I don't know why they do that, and I don't know what you'd use it for. Initially, I thought it was maybe for, ferro rod. Or if you know why they do that, let me know in the comments below. The buck trekker. Let's go outside and try and make some fire and play with it and beat it and chop up some wood or something. See if it works. This is a folding knife. It's an everyday carry. Now, the reason I carry a knife, I'm pretty sure is going to be different to the reason you carry a knife. Some of the things we carry it for, obvious, cut a piece of string, cut a piece of wood, whatever. Open a bag, cut open boxes, things like that. Now, to be honest, I probably won't take this into the outdoors. This is going to be a work EDC for me, simply because I don't think it's an outdoor knife. It's certainly not an EDC. It would be nice to have in your pack, I suppose, as a backup. But I'm already seeing issues with the number one reason I carry a knife is to make fire, chop up wood, and that sort of thing. Now, I will tell you, very sharp. It comes extremely sharp. Very impressed with that. But the issue I'm having is the back here, and I carry ferro rods, and I don't think that's going to strike, but we're going to find out. Now, in an urban everyday carry situation, this is probably a bit more suited, but I still feel that you need to make fire in an urban situation. You've got to keep warm. Doesn't matter where you are. You've got to cook your food. You got to make that fire. There's a reason this is number one on the 10cc's list, whether you're urban survival or wilderness survival. So for me personally, I don't think that this is really part of my survival kit. This is for me a work knife. It'll come with me to work, and I'll use it for chores around work, just as I did with this guy. And I used it as a screwdriver, chopper, scraper, cutter, hammer. I've used it for a lot of different things, but it was my work carry and everyday carry. When I'm in the wilderness, I always have a belt knife, a full tang, non-folding knife, a bush knife, camp knife, survival knife, bushcraft knife, whatever you want to call them. Having a folder is nice to have in your pocket if you want to do little chores. But for me, this is not for that. This would be a work knife. And it looks sturdy enough. It looks well made. It's nice and clean, and it's solid. There's no rattly things. The lock is good, so I don't have any complaints. But enough of that. Let's go make fire.
So I'm out here in the South 40 with the buck, and I wanted to test it on what I would typically need it for. Now, I do carry one at work. My other buck was with me for 3 years at my current job. I said I misplaced it. I left it lying somewhere. Somebody found it and got it back to me 2 weeks later. But by that time, I had switched to the Opinel, and I got really comfortable with it and found it worked for me as well. But my little buck is still probably my favorite knife to have in my pocket. It's small, compact, thin, works, and has had no issues, and I love that knife. But it's more of a sentimental knife. Can it do anything more than this? Probably not. The back of the blade is exactly the same. It has that. See if you can see that. If you look at the back of the blade, see how it is solid here, a full ridge, and then it has this sharpened edge on it here. When I look at a knife, it doesn't matter what knife it is. If it's an EDC knife, a folder, or a full tang, to me it's an outdoor knife. That's the reason I have it. When I'm outdoors, I need to have a knife. It's just part of the 10cc's. It's the first one on it. It's important. But can it do what I need in the outdoors? The size of the blade obviously is going to limit it, just what you can bludgeon. But I need to know if I can. Can I trim down wood and make kindling? Make a feather stick? Can I do that? Can I feather with it? Can it strike a ferro rod? Can it do all those things? Because that's why I carry a knife. For the outdoors. In an urban situation, I think a multi-tool is the way to go. But a good multi-tool that has a good blade on it, once again, you need that blade. And the other tools, obviously, you got to get the right one for what you're comfortable with. So I have this wood here, and I've been playing with it. I'm going to bludgeon this piece of wood. It's pretty small, so it's not going to be a really good test. Unfortunately, I don't have a big piece of wood that I can use to do a true bludgeon on it. You know, you want to be able to hit the back and chop wood up to cut wood down, a big piece of wood, but you're limited because of the size. Let's see what damage we can do here. And like I said, it's sharp. It's cutting this wood no problem. I tried scraping the back, but it doesn't work. Well, not very well. But it's not sharp. It doesn't have a good clean 90 on it. Let's see if we can split this wood and make a feather. I want to make a feather stick out of this, so I got to split the wood. So we'll start by splitting it in half. Now this does have a serrated edge, and it's, I'm going to say, a little bit less than half of the blade. So I'm going to use the clean part of the blade. Got a big stick here. It kind of peeled off odd. So let's, I mean, it goes through it. Yeah, that doesn't surprise me. Not a very big piece of wood. Let me see if I can control it a little bit better. Let's feather this. So I need to feather it. So like I said, it's a very sharp blade. So I'd be surprised if I couldn't get a decent feather out of it. And for those of you who don't do this often, the way to get curls, if you just push straight down, you're just going to get straight peeled pieces. If you push across when you go down, it'll curl. Let me see if I can show you what I mean. See how the wood curls? Yeah. But you're limited with the blade here, so it's not very long. It is a pocket knife, I would say. It's a folder, so it doesn't have much blade to work with. But we got something going here that we could probably start a fire with. Probably more my skill than the knife. The wood isn't the best as well. So now we have something to make fire with. I have a little one here, mini. And just to make sure it works, let's strike it. So we know it works. So I do have a striker with it. I'm not a big fan of these. If you watched one of my videos, previous video told you that. The spine here has no sharp 90 degrees. And I'm not going to get anything out of it. As you can see, I'm even trying. And that's why I don't understand this. I'm missing something there. You know, now you could angle this yourself, clean it up, and get it really sharp. This is not really a survival knife. It's an EDC knife, and that's what they were thinking of. Something that you'd use typically for an everyday EDC. But like I said, I'm in the outdoors, and that's why I carry a knife. One of the reasons is make a fire. 10 cc's, first thing on the list. I'm going to do something that you should never do. This is not a good idea. You should never do this with your blade. And that is use the sharpened end of the blade to strike and see if it works. Now obviously if you're in just a disaster situation and you have no other option, you can do this. And what I'd recommend is, if you have to, use this part of the blade as deep down as you can go towards the handle. If you damage that part, it's not a big deal if it loses sharpness, because most of the blade is here that you use. That would be my recommendation. Well, we're getting a spark out of it. And I'm using that serrated part, which is not easy. Not the best fire starter, not the best ferro rod I own, but it gave a spark. So you'd get a spark if you had a decent ferro rod. More the ferro rod than the knife. Don't do that unless you absolutely have to. What I would do certainly is make this a nice tight 90 with a sharp edge on it. So there you go. That's the issue I have. Like I said, I carry a knife when I'm outdoors. I carry one at work. I carried my other buck for many years in my pocket and used it at work, and it did a good job. Loved it. But I wasn't starting fires with it with a ferro rod. I used it to cut bags, cardboard, whatever. Even used it as a screwdriver sometimes, and it still works perfect. Buck make a good knife. That one's proof to me. I had it for 10 years. And I still have it. And it's still one of my favorites. Probably more of a sentimental value than anything else to me, simply because it was in my pocket for so long. Not something that I normally carry. I like a small pocket knife, because when I'm outdoors, I always have a belt knife. But I might find myself in a situation where, yep, I don't have my belt knife, but I have this. Can I survive with it? Same goes for you. And personally, a knife like this may be better in an urban survival situation. But there again, if I was in an urban survival situation, I would want a good multi-tool. One with a big enough blade on it. You're still going to want to make fire with it, because you want to keep warm no matter what. Outdoors or in an urban situation, you need that fire. I think a multi-tool is a better choice for urban. However, if I was to take this to work, it would more than do its job. Just saying. Don't forget, like, share, subscribe. You know the story. Pretty sure I'll be back again soon. Maybe with another sharp and shiny thing. I don't know. I never know. I never get to think that far ahead. What can I say? Thanks for watching. Be safe out there. Bye.